Crimson Trace announces Link, the world's first wireless laser and white light system, combining a green laser and 300 lumen light with instinctive activation for AR-type rifles. Link, smart, simple, secure. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
He rode out of Louisiana territory, and with his gun slung low and his microphone held high, he brought truth to a savage land. And the legend grew. Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
Welcome back. Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk. We're just talking about guns and shooting and safety and responsibility. Pretty much anything that falls along those lines, we're talking about it. If you'd like to join us, it's really easy. Just call me at 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. And we'll talk about, the guns you have, the guns you're thinking about buying, or training you'd like to get, or maybe just got. And here's the thing. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you're brand new to all this, you literally don't know the difference between a revolver and a semi-automatic, that's okay, cool. Call me. We'll walk you through it. It's all good. We all started there. It's sometimes hard for some of us to remember that there were times when we did not know this stuff, and it wasn't a part of our makeup. It's one of the things that makes it hard sometimes for people who are not professional trainers to teach people if they don't know anything, because it's hard to go all the way back to the very beginning. You kind of assume a certain level of knowledge. And often that's what makes, you can tell a really good trainer can adjust on the fly for a different student. One of the guys I've seen do that many times who is so darn good, one of the best trainers I've ever worked with, Tiger McKee from Shootrite Academy joins us right now. Tiger, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to be here again.
I am glad to have you back. You are truly, and I'm not blowing smoke, I think you're one of the finest firearms trainers I've ever worked with. You have a way that just connects with people, man.
Yeah, a lot of people have referred to it as like the Andy Griffith technique.
I like that. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're not going to overcomplicate this. And here's the thing. The stuff we're doing actually is not that complicated, is it?
No, sir, it's really not. Now, a lot of it is not natural or instinctual,
right,
but that doesn't make it complicated. If you boil it down to the fundamentals, and it's always about the basics, It's not that difficult. You just need to know what you're doing, like with any other piece of equipment or tool.
Now, on the other hand, I had a guy call the show last week, and he said he got a gun, but he didn't. I said, well, what kind of training have you had? He said, well, I don't have to take any training. He says, because self-defense with guns is simple. And I said, well, not really. It's while we can say it's not complicated to learn to shoot a gun, learning to fight with a gun and to do it well is, in fact, a bit complicated, or at least it's not simple, because you have to be able to handle almost an infinite number of situations. Now, the training that you get will take care of that, but I would be the last person, Tiger, to say that self-defense training with a gun is simple.
No, sir, it's not, and that would be the same whether you were playing a piano or driving a NASCAR, right? I mean, I look at this as a martial art, just like any other martial art. The key thing is we're using the best tool for the job, which is a firearm, which makes it easy for anybody, regardless of size, age, that type stuff. But it still is an art, and you have to have the proper techniques to produce that art. And then the big part of it, like you mentioned, is decision-making. Okay, I've got the tools for the job. Here's the situation I'm facing. What's the best response for this trouble?
Okay, that kind of begs the question then. All right, if somebody goes out and says, yeah, I've taken a class and all, and I can handle a gun pretty well, how does someone get to the point where they can start making good decisions?
The first step would be recognizing the nature of the trouble. Where is the danger going to come from, and what's it going to look like? Every situation is unique, but then if you examine enough of them, you can establish or identify common themes among these things. So you learn what to look for that would indicate possible trouble, And then, like, our best response at that point is avoidance and escape.
You bet. If you getting away from the problem is a whole lot better than conquering the problem, because there are no guarantees in a fight that you don't get hurt, even if you're the good guy.
Oh, for sure. And what I tell people is you need to expect to get possibly hit, cut, shot, but you still have to win the fight.
Yes, and that's a mindset issue. And, and really we're talking about two different things. One is the learning the manipulation of a firearm and how to shoot it well, how to draw it, how to shoot it, how to move and shoot, how to shoot around barriers, that type of thing. But the other is completely a different thing. It's a mindset thing. I mean, you and I have talked about it. Some of that you could accomplish in your easy chair.
Yeah, what we teach is that fighting is well over 90% a mental process. You have to be able to assess, evaluate, make decisions, and then act accordingly, all while still being legal, right? Because we're good guys.
Right.
And it's a mental process for sure. The physical part of it, learning how to manipulate a firearm once you receive the proper training, and then you back that up with practice and repetition. Anybody can learn that. It's the mental part of it, the mental aspects that are so incredibly important.
It occurs to me when you were talking, I'd never thought of this before. It's maybe just so obvious I hadn't thought of it. It's a lot harder to be the good guy in a fight than it is to be the bad guy, because we have rules.
No doubt. Like, good guys don't really care where their bullets end up.
You mean bad guys
Which
don't?
I'm sorry, bad guys.
Yeah, bad guys, they could just spray without praying, and they could just spray, and we're responsible for, and we feel the responsibility for every bullet we fire.
Every round that comes out of that barrel, we are responsible for where it ends up.
Yes. So, all right, as you've been training a long time now, man. You've had a lot of people come through your class. By the way, Tiger's Academy is in, an hour or so south of Huntsville and pretty close to Gunnersville, Alabama?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then, of course, you also...
we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, so that's a major milestone for us.
Wow, that is a major milestone. Excellent. And I cannot recommend you highly enough, I tell you. So in 25 years, we've seen an awful lot of people get serious about getting concealed carry and carrying guns. But one of the things that we have seen, 25 years ago, not very many people were carrying small guns. And that's been a real trend. What are you seeing, and how do you have to make adjustments in your training?
A little bit you do. The first thing would be to think about the actual application of that pistol. Like, all pistols are defensive in nature, right? If we knew there was going to be a fight and we couldn't avoid it, we'd have rifles with us because they do a lot better job of stopping the threat. So all pistols are defensive in nature. But then I would break it down even further to say, okay, there's fighting pistols, which are larger, higher capacity, that type stuff, and there are purely defensive pistols. I'm going to use this to escape this situation, to get me and my family out of here. And then the manipulations are a little bit different just due to the size of the pistol, and then that depends on the hand size of the person operating that pistol.
Okay. One of the big things that I have seen change in 25 years is the regrowth, if you will, or acceptance of the 9mm as a legitimate defensive round.
And I would even put the 380 in there.
I would too,
and this is due to the platforms these things are available in nowadays and the incredible advances in ammunition.
Oh, huge. I mean, when you shoot, and you do it and I do it, we shoot these different loads into ballistic gelatin and different testing mediums. What we're seeing today, there's not a dime's worth of difference, honestly, between a 45, a 40, a 9, and really the 380 is within, I would say, an inch of penetration on the rest of them.
Yes, sir. All of those, in my opinion, would be acceptable carry rounds now.
Hey, Tiger, if you got a minute, I'm going to take a break and come back, and we've got some other things we need to chat.
Definitely.
All right, talking with Tiger McKee. Check it out, Shootrite, Shootrite, Shootrite Academy. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
When someone leaves you their gun collection, you may want a few, but what do you do with the rest? How do you sell them? Who do you call? Well, I call Johnny Dury at Dury's Guns. Whether you're selling one gun or 500, they'll tell you what it's worth and write you a check. Simple, quick, easy, fair. I trust Dury's Guns. Give them a call. DurysGuns.com. Whether you want to learn to run your pistol or an AR-15, if you're talking about learning to use a gun for self-defense, Tiger McKee is the guy you ought to consider going to. Shootrite Academy. It's SHOOTRITE.org, shootrite.org. Tiger joins us right now. Tiger, in 25 years, you have seen, that was really kind of the early stages of concealed carry movement. That's just a quarter century of watching this thing grow, where now there's concealed carry available, at least theoretically, in all the states. What have you seen in terms of any changes in the people who come through your classes?
I've been teaching for 25 years, and then I've been studying this stuff for a lot longer. My father was in the Special Forces. Both my grandfathers were lawmen. I don't remember learning how to shoot because I started early. I got my permit at 17, which, you know, if you knew the high sheriff, you could get a permit at 17.
Right.
And so I've been carrying for a long time. I've been in this for a long time. The biggest thing that I see change, other than equipment and all, you know, which has come a long way, is just that your normal, everyday person is starting to realize that personal protection is an individual responsibility. We've always had concealed carry, right? But most of the guys that you saw carrying were what you would maybe call like hard men, military law enforcement, you know. And nowadays we're seeing moms, dads, grandparents, you know, people are realizing, hey, the world is an ugly place. I need to be able to protect myself and my family.
I hear people say, yeah, you know, but I just don't want to feel the way it would make me feel to go take, you know, gunfighting training. I think I would be a different person. I would look at the world differently. I would be callous. I would be cynical. I would be afraid all the time. Aren't you gun people afraid all the time?
The thing is that if you're carrying and you have the proper training, all of that type stuff, you don't have to be worried. So it takes a load, well, now not anybody out there can do anything they want to if they're bigger, stronger to hurt me or my family. It gives you a real sense of security.
Yes.
And it actually is going to make you less prone to getting into trouble, because once you understand that, wow, even a verbal argument can escalate into a life-threatening situation, you go out of your way to avoid any type trouble, and you can be really polite to people.
It's interesting. If you have had real training, I mean, like Tiger's training or gun sight or the kind of training we're talking about, you come away changed. And part of it is if you were a person who tended to do this, you generally will not be flipping people off or driving aggressively or honking your horn, because you understand that just that one little thing can end up in a life or death situation, and it's just not important. You just shrug it off and let it go.
It resets your priorities for sure.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. All right, so as you look at, you and I love the 1911s. We grew up on 1911s. I still love to carry one. But there are so many good guns out there. We've never seen anything the like of what we have now. It's actually kind of hard to find a bad pistol these days, isn't it?
Oh, man, this is like the golden age. And, you can get like almost any platform weapon you want in almost any caliber, and they're going to work. The producers are putting out outstanding weapons across the board these days.
You seen a lot of women coming through your classes?
More and more, but not enough.
Interesting. Why not enough?
I think that there's a lot of things that are going on. For one thing, Gretchen is involved in what we do, my wife, right? And so we talk to a lot of women, and a lot of them are like, well, my husband carries. Okay, that may be, but 8-10 hours a day, he's not with you and the kids. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to protect yourself and those kids. And then a lot of times scheduling is difficult, because they're having to take care of family and that type stuff. And so we tell them, hey, just tell your husband this is what I need to do, for the safety of all of us. Because, dude, I'll be honest with you, I'm counting on Gretchen to save me.
Well, I know you're joking, but it is true. I was just talking about that before you got on. I was talking about how if both of you carry, it's not just twice as good. It's like 5 times as good in terms of what two people who can communicate, who train together, can do, right?
Definitely. There's an exponential advantage there for sure. And, we talk to the husbands and wives about team tactics. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about SWAT team tactics. We're talking about basic fundamental skills like communication is a big one.
Yes. That
you and your wife, family, friends, whatever, can use to respond to a threat with a coordinated action, which gives you an exponential advantage.
Right. And you talk it through. Say, look, if somebody comes up to me and is starting to give us a hard time, here's what I want you to do. And you talk it out. Whether it's I want you to take a number of steps away from me, or I want you to, we're going to split up at that point. Or it might just be, I want you to turn around and walk away and don't stop walking. Just go be somewhere else. You have
to have a plan.
And you have to
realize that plan may not hold up. So you have to be ready to improvise.
Exactly. But at least you got something going for you.
Something to start with.
And this goes back to the whole, sitting in the easy chair. I came up with this acronym, and I call it INTOT, INTOT. And it's something you hear in your classes all the time. I never thought of that. You hear it? People. Yeah. And I tell them, that's why you go to a Tiger McKee or a Clint Smith or a gun sight, because these are people who think of this stuff all the time. It's like, okay, what if this? What if that? How would we do that? It's like I want to tell people, okay, if you got to hide behind your bed, somebody's trying to get into your bedroom, do you look over the top of it? Well, no. How about going around to the side? I never thought of that.
Or underneath. There you go. And, I know at your place where you've got that hideous wall that you make people shoot from. It doesn't look like much, but it will beat you up once you've been through the wall. But you learn to shoot low. You learn to shoot under stuff, over stuff, around stuff.
It is a great training system you have there.
Yeah, and it's made, like, to mimic. Here's what you might face in real life. And so guys like me and Clinton, the gun sight, and, the instructor, we study and research this. So we figure out, okay, because there is a difference between what's possible and what's probable, right? I'm probably not going to be attacked by a highly trained group of North Korean assassins this afternoon.
Right.
But there might be something pop up in the parking lot of one of the big box stores that I have to deal with.
Exactly. And if sometimes, sometimes dealing with it means I'm going to turn around and go back inside the big box store.
Definitely. Again, avoidance and escape, those are at the top of the list.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I tell people, we have guys that call all the time, want to buy a gun for their wife, and I always tell them, I'm sorry you don't get to. You can buy her training. You can buy her training and you can provide the funding, but you got to get out of the way. You can't choose a gun for somebody.
Some of the worst training scars I've ever seen were from where husbands bought the wife a gun, or either the husbands decided they didn't like that pistol and gave it to their wife. And, it's too big, there's too much recoil, they can't manipulate it. I mean, buying a pistol is a very individual kind of thing. It's got to fit your hand, you got to be able to manipulate it. And ultimately, you have to kind of fall in love with it. Otherwise, you're not going to train and practice and carry it.
Absolutely. Tiger, you got openings this year for people who want to come see you?
Yes, sir. We do the group classes that are scheduled throughout the year, and then we offer private tutorials, which I really love teaching. We've got openings and everything.
Very good. Check it out. Shootrite, Shootrite, Shootrite.org, Tiger McKee. And also, by all means, pick up a copy of his book, The Book of Two Guns. Tiger, thank you so much. You just do a great job, man.
As always, sir, it's a pleasure and an honor.
You bet. All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm not kidding. If you really want one of the coolest, most interesting, a truly unique, in the real sense of the word, book, The Book of Two Guns by Tiger McKee, it is fascinating. It will really get you to thinking. 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, let's talk about teaching gun safety in maybe the inner cities. This is going to be fun.
Honey, does this holster make me look fat?
The right answers to the tough questions on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
Hey, welcome back. I've been doing this a long time. We're just about to move into the 25th year of doing Gun Talk Radio. I started writing about gun rights another 25 years before that, but at a long time. And as we've tried to get the message of gun rights, the Second Amendment, the history of it, to all parts of the communities, there are just areas that I can't break into. And it has been a real treat to see a lot of super spokespeople, activists come along who could take that message to areas that have been, I would call, underserved. At the lead of that joins us right now, Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. Maj, thank you so much for being with us.
What's up? Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. So when people ask you, who are you and what do you do with this Black Guns Matter, what do you tell them?
I tell them I'm a reformed scumbag from the general public that wants to continue to make the hood great again. That's it. That's who I am. Second Amendment dude that understands what freedom is about, and the Second Amendment being the teeth, and the hood needs to be on board with that. And the hood is all across America, black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. If you don't got $100 million home, it's probably safe to say you probably live in a hood.
How do you get from growing up in the hood, your self-description of that, to becoming a Second Amendment gun rights activist?
I just going into different hoods. I see the play. I see the blitz coming, and so it's like all of these urban areas. There's people, anti-freedom folks trying to create languaging and laws and policies that are stifling to Americans. And because that demographic has traditionally been not looked at, or like you said, underserved, they think it's going to go by smooth. But we're talking about conservative estimates, 50 million Americans in this conversation. We're talking about New York City alone, 8.5 million people in those 5 boroughs. And so seeing that, it was just like, we got to do something about it. I didn't expect to be alive past 25. So, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. So let's do some work. Let's push in the spirit of a Patrick Henry, a Malcolm X, a Harriet Tubman. Let's keep that energy going and in resistance to tyranny and support of freedom. So it was really an easy, natural transition. You know, I happened to not have a college degree, and it was not needed one to do this work. So, you know, it happens that way.
You know, I remember you speaking at the Gun Rights Policy Conference and basically looking out at the crowd of mostly white faces and making the point to all of us, which you can go in and talk to people and be heard in places that they're not going to listen to any of us, right?
Right, correct. There's a disconnect because the opposition has done a very good job. They're much better at PR. They've done a very good job of making it a separate argument to make it look like, you know, firearm safety or certain things are only for certain demographics. They've done a very good job at that. And because of that, you know, our job is to go, okay, you've made all of Black America, for the most part, look like, oh, the Second Amendment isn't for me. Second Amendment's a human right. These are things that are granted by your Creator, as the Founding Fathers, you know, constructed in the Constitution and the Second Amendment. In the Bill of Rights. So with that being the case, it was just about saying, okay, you guys have the information in this freedom room, but there's a deliberate attempt to make urban America not have that information. And in turn, the freedom room becomes weakened because there's not as many hands on deck as there could or should be. So my job is to translate that information to that demographic and operate as a liaison to strengthen the overall freedom community. And we've been doing it, you know, in a wonderful way for the last 3 years now.
For decades, I have written about and talked about the history of gun control and its racist roots. And for me, it's hard for that to ring true. When you say it, it's different. How do people perceive it when you talk about gun control as basically racist at its core?
Because we from the same demographic. So, for example, some of those people that you were saying it to were victims of the same conditioning. They think, oh, he's a white dude. He's going to be racist. It's like bad business to be a white male over the age of 40 right now. It's just like the media's made y'all look like everything you do is a Klan activity. You know what I mean? So with that being the case, because I'm from that same demographic and I have relationships with happen to be white women, happen to be white men, happen to be Spanish men, happen to be Spanish women, and I'm from that demographic and I speak the same language, that's why it's received so well. And then I can go, yo, you might want to listen to this brother here. He happens to be white, but he's got a smorgasbord of information. You know, where we have lost is we did not have liaisons for urban America from urban America. There's guys that have tried to speak to urban America, came from the cloth, and it's just unfortunate. So it's not going to translate the same way. But our truth resonates because we from the same places. We ain't have much, and that translates beyond racial, issues. That truth resonates beyond class issues. That truth resonates beyond political issues, and that is what America needed at this moment, especially in the liberty and freedom movement in regard to specifically the Second Amendment.
Absolutely. We're talking with Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. Maj, hold on a second. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about what the Black Guns Matter actually means, and how it's basically impacting, and it's having a big impact these days. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join, or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's That's shopguntalk.com.
We're talking with Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. Maj, what is Black Guns Matter?
Black Guns Matter is a firearms safety organization. What we do is we give free classes. Everybody pays it forward. We're a crowdsourced organization. We go and give firearms safety training, conflict resolution, political education classes around the country to people that have an interest in firearms, but they're, in that underserved area. So if there's a bunch of homicides in Chicago, New Orleans, Detroit, that's where we're going. We've been doing this work for the last, close to 3 years at this point. And again, all of the classes are free. You're going to know about what ranges are in your neighborhood, what's the proper way to secure firearms, safe way in handling them, what's the political process, what's the process of getting a license to carry, as well as becoming organized politically to overturn a lot of these anti-freedom laws. That's what Black Guns Matter is, and that's what we do. And again, these classes, because of everyone's support, donating $5, $10, $20, whatever, here and there, we're able to keep these classes completely free to beginners.
And you've set up GoFundMe for that, GoFundMe.com/BlackGunsMatter.
Yep.
It occurs to me, and I'd love to get your take on this, that a lot of folks in the black community have been sold a bill of goods about how it's not good to have guns for self-protection. And they've kind of, I don't know if they've learned that from generational or where it's come from. Is my perception accurate there?
It's halfway accurate and halfway a bit off. If I would add to it, they are being sold that false bill of goods, but it's actually in opposition to the actual history. Black people in America have a long-standing tradition with firearms. First of all, even when slavery was happening, we as black people fought against slavery in wars. We've been heavily involved in every single war in this country, fighting for our nation and for freedom, regardless, whether that was freedom from enslavement or freedom against, Hitler and the boys. Right. The point is, there's been a long-standing history there, but mass media continues to push this narrative like that history has not existed. There's a great book called Negroes and the Gun that everybody should read, and it deals with that, that long-standing tradition of arms. It is presented that way to the demographic because they're better at PR. And I get pushbacks. I get some of my gun guys, my freedom, women, so upset when I say this. The left, and I got to say the left, even though those are still Americans, right? Those portions of the left are much better at PR and presenting a story that is not factual. They are much better at it, and that's our fault because as freedom lovers, we go, well, we have the facts, we have the data, and we're telling the truth. That is not enough anymore. And that's the case in showing how so many leftist organizations are creating spaces where they can switch the narrative, lie, outright be deceptive, and they win that way. We have to get better at public perception. We have to get better at, creating that perception in reality and tying that back into the facts. So, that's the reason why we, Black Guns Matter has taken to the general public, hard-working Americans so swiftly because that truth resonates, as well as when you present that way, people go, yeah, that makes sense. And it's packaged well, it's presented, and we're here to preserve those freedoms. So, yeah, it is presented a certain way because they're better at PR. What our job is to change that through PR, perception and reality, public relations, so forth and so on. And I think most of America gets on board with how we're packaging these facts. To be honest,
I've said for years, people say, but we're right. I said, yeah, you're right. But being right not only isn't the most important thing, it actually, in this case, may not even matter because you can be right and still lose. And we do that over and over because we're just bad at messaging.
Yep. You don't get anything for being right. You're just right. That's great. What, you want a cookie? So what? It's like Chris Rock had a joke when, he's like, guys are like, I take care of my kids. And he's like, so? You're supposed to. Like, what are you talking about? There's no extras for that. You know what I mean? The problem with this is we're fighting for our liberties. We, America, and I hate, even though the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and protect life is a human right, America, with the exception of some other places, is like the last stronghold for the people having a shining example or a shining light in the darkness of protecting personal values and liberty. It's unfortunate, but it's true, and so we have to make sure we're doing it. And we got to recognize that they're presenting a tremendous socialist agenda right now. You saw the State of the Union address, and you saw the faces of some people on the left when, President Trump said, hey, America will never be a socialist country. And some of the left, Bernie Sanders and those guys, they didn't get up and clap to that. So there's certain agendas that's there. These people that are talking about socialist values, right, but they have $4 million beach homes. Stop pretending. Right. You're the same politicians that are pushing these agendas, but you're exempt from them. You're the same politicians talking that anti-gun, but at the same time you have an armed security detail, not even 24/7, 25/8. So there's a contradiction here. And so our job is to expose that contradiction to the maximum degree with compassion, because a lot of the people that are repeating those talking points don't know any better. So it's not us against them as far as the rank and file that are repeating those things. Our job is to express that truth, reach them, and get more hands on our side. It's not to be morally superior or I'm right, so what? What it is about getting more Americans to understand their fundamental human, God-given right to defend their life and respect their freedoms and get them on our side. And that's what we have to do, and that's what we've been doing at Black Guns Matter, especially through our GoFundMe.
All right, so is that the best way that people, I know, because there are a lot of people who are now hearing you for the first time and going, man, that dude's on fire, I want to get involved, how do I help?
The first thing is we need everyone's support. The reason why we want to keep these classes free to beginners is, depending on the state that you're in, some places, like I'm in Boston right now, in order to purchase, to get involved in your firearms, introduction, you got to pay a test, $100 to take a test in the state of Massachusetts and Boston. So we want to eliminate a lot of those, costs to entry, those barriers to entry. With that being the case, we want everybody to support. And one of the biggest ways that you can support to keep this information free to people on the left that you may not be able to reach, but we can and we are, GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. This is how we keep this stuff going. Our goal overall has been $200,000. We raised over $163,000 or $64,000, and we fundraise as we go along. So we've been able to do 70 events over the last 2 years for free with this work. So that's the biggest way that you can support financially. Another way is reaching out to us, bringing us out to your city so we can have these classes and create those, those individual cells. We can link the community up with lawyers, trainers, gun rangers, instructors in that city, and that strengthens the, the freedom class or support systems in those particular cities. On top of it, the last thing is, okay, you might not be a shooter and you want to just walk around recognizing the support for our merchandise. We have Black Guns Matter hoodies, T-shirts, and all of that. That's blackgunsmatter.myshopify.com. Those are several ways that you can support our work. We can continue to, because, the other side is very organized. They're mad because they lost the last federal election.
And they're well-funded.
They're well-funded. They're very well-funded. So those are the areas that we need everybody's support. If something that you heard today on this, this broadcast was a truth to you, this is how you can help us continue to push that work in those environments that need it the most.
Well, it's just fabulous. I'm glad we were finally able to get together. Maj Toure, you're doing great work, and just keep it up, man. We're going to keep pumping it up as much as we can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you in a bit.
You take care. Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's activism. That's the deal. Getting in there and mixing it up, not afraid to go tell the truth. He brings the truth to people who are not hearing it, frankly. It's one thing to say, well, we talked to my buddies. Yeah, that's good. You need to do all of that. But we also need to talk to people we don't normally talk to. And this is fabulous. I just got to tell you, there are large segments of the community, of our population, who gets fed, frankly, a lot of bull. And they accept it because nobody's been pushing back. And then you get a guy like Maj who's pushing back, and he makes waves. Let me tell you, there's a lot of folks out there on the anti-gun side who really resent him and think, well, you can't be doing that. Well, yes, he can. This is a guy that gets it. Real simple. 866-TALK-GUN. What's your take? How did you react? Maj Toure, I love it. Tom Gresham here. Be right back with Gun Talk. When do you want to spot a burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's already in? Ask John. His Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while he and his family were at home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, Blink video clips were sent to the police to help convict the crooks. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. And if you're traveling, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on pets from anywhere using the Blink smartphone app. No contracts, no subscriptions, totally affordable. And Blink works with Alexa. Blink camera systems make great gifts, and they're a brilliant way to monitor your package deliveries. Visit blinkprotect.com/guntalk. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. One more time, blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Blink is an Amazon company. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. What happens when a Brit goes to Texas and becomes a concealed carry instructor? Well, we're talking about that in just a few minutes. That's a funny story. A lot to learn there. As you listen to people like Tiger McKee, great trainer, Maj Toure, great activist, does it get you to thinking about, I got to ramp up my game, whether it's in your activism or in your training? A thought for you. And there's kind of here's your home firearms training moment for you, okay? One of the things you can do, spend a few dollars, get yourself a blue gun. There's an outfit, Blue Guns, Rings is the name, but if you just look up blue guns, you'll find them. They are inert, solid plastic or rubber guns that completely mimic your pistol, whether it's a 1911 or a Beretta or a Taurus or whatever it is. And it'll fit in your holster, but it's just a rubber gun. What would you do with that? Well, tons. In fact, Tiger McKee is a big proponent of using blue guns for training. In your home, don't be screwing around with your carry gun. I don't care if you've got it unloaded. Too many times it made a loud noise and people thought it was unloaded. Use a blue gun. Draw and move. Move all the way through your house with your gun out. How would you move? How would you go around corners? How do you do that? If you had to get behind furniture, practice that move with your blue gun. Get down behind a sofa. Lean around the sofa. Get down on the floor behind your bed. Have you ever thought about shooting underneath your bed? He mentioned shooting under it. We talk about shooting under cars. I'm here to tell you, somebody breaks into your house, breaks into your bedroom. If you're shooting underneath the bed and you shoot them in the ankle, they fall down. And when they fall down, you got more to shoot at, don't you? Oh, man, I never thought of that. InTot. Just exactly what we're talking about. A blue gun is such a great tool. You can practice drawing and moving sideways, backwards, without any chance of, one thing, hurting your actual real gun, but also the blue gun is just completely safe for this kind of thing. I'm a big fan of them, and the fact that they will fit in your holster. They are a complete duplicate, or replica, if you will, of your regular carry gun. I just think that they're a really seriously good training tool. No, you can't pull the trigger on it and make it reciprocate or anything, but you can pull the trigger on it. You can actually do, weirdly enough, and it's going to sound odd, you can do malfunction drills. You can do tap racks with it. No, of course it doesn't have a magazine in it, but you hit the bottom, you rack your hand over the top of the slide just like you would normally. Do tap racks. Move, shoot, communicate. Practice all that stuff. The more you do it, the more you put it in your head, the more you're going to react the correct way if and when you need it. Because at that point, you don't need to be trying to figure out what to do. You just need to be doing it without thinking about it. You'll be problem solving in the middle of the fight, but you actually won't even think about the firearms manipulations. That's what training does for you over and over and over. You do it. Besides, you know what else? It's fun. Training is just fun. Hey, when we come back, we'll be talking about a cool book that you need. If you're a concealed carry person, you need this book. Tom Gresham, we'll be right back.